Hi everybody, Logan with Enduro Engineering here to show you the new radiator guard for the Sherco models. It's going to help your radiator from impacts to the front as well as keep your radiator from getting tweaked. We're going to show you what you're going to need to install your Enduro Engineering radiator guard on your Sherco. In your package you're going to get 2 radiator guards. You're going to get the small piece, 2 of them for the radiator guard. You're going to get 4 6x25 bolts. You're going to have 10 6x16 button head bolts. You're going to have 4 number 12 washers, and you're going to have instructions in your package. What you're going to need to supply is an 8mm wrench, 4mm Allen wrench, and an 8mm T-handle or socket. Okay, the first step, you're going to want to remove your seat. Then you're going to need to take your 4mm Allen and remove all the bolts on the radiator shroud. And go ahead and take your radiator shroud right off. Okay, also on the radiator shroud is an 8mm bolt down here going into the radiator. So go ahead and take your 8mm T-handle or socket, pull that out, and then take the radiator shroud right off. Okay, now that you've got your radiator shroud off, this is an option. You can pull your front fender off, making it easier access here. We did in this case so that you can see it better. Next step is going to be removing the stock radiator louver. Just go ahead and push in on these 2 tabs, and then it comes right out. Then you're going to want to take an 8mm wrench and pull out the 2 bolts holding on the radiator. You're not going to want to use a T-handle or a socket because you end up dinging up the radiator fins. So go ahead and use a wrench and loosen those up. Once you get them loose, you can just spin them out by hand. And the next step, you're going to take the small piece of the radiator guard. You're going to want the holes for mounting facing forward. Then you notice the part number that's etched into it, that's going to be facing towards the frame. So get that lined up with the bolts you just removed on the last step. Take the washers that you removed, place them in between this bracket and the rubber bumper of the radiator. Then take your supplied 6x25 bolt, put it right through there, get the top one started, then go ahead and get the bottom one started. Now that you've got both those bolts spun in by hand, go ahead and take your 8mm wrench again and go ahead and tighten those down to the factory spec. Okay, the next steps, you're going to take your radiator guard. There's a part number etched in it. One has an L, the other has an R. That's how you know left and right. Also, the logo is going to be towards the outside of the bike. So get that lined up. It's going to slide up against that brace you just put on, and then line it up with holes on the outside. Go ahead and take 3 of your supplied button head bolts and get the 3 started on the inside, but don't tighten them quite yet. Okay, now that you have the 3 button head bolts started on the front side, go ahead and take 2 more of the button head bolts along with 1 each of the number 12 washer and get them started on the outside here. You're going to take your 4mm Allen. You're going to want to tighten the 2 outer ones first and then move to the 3 on the front. You don't have to get these very tight, just get them snug. And then go ahead and tighten the front 3. Now that you have all those button heads tightened up, go ahead and put your shroud back on using the same bolts that you took out. Okay, and the same lower bolt that you took out of the radiator shroud, go ahead and put that back in using your 8mm. And then now that we got the left side done, you're just going to repeat the exact same process on the right side. And then once you're done with the right side, that'd be the time to put your front fender back on. Okay, now that you have your Enduro Engineering radiator guards installed on your Sherco, you're ready to go take your bike out and go have some fun on the trails.